Pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brumbaugh?
Here.
Mr. Press?
Here.
Mrs. Parsons? Here. Dr. Dinkelman? Here. Mr. Diaz?
Here. Two, hearing of the public. Do we have anybody that would like to speak to the board? If not, we'll move on. Next is superintendent's report. Before we get to that, I would like to take this time to express my sincere gratitude to the Bulldog community for its support of the school district in securing the passage of the earned income tax request. The revenue generated from its passage will enable the district to commence rebuilding efforts following the cost-cutting measures implemented by the board in the past. The administration is actively working to initiate the restoration of some bus services for the 2025-2026 academic year. This restoration process will be phased in, as it will take some time to obtain the necessary staffing to decrease the pickup radius and serve a larger number of students. The position of an additional high school guidance counselor was immediately posted after the issue passed. This position will be reinstated for the 25-26 school year. The implementation of the 5-year plan commenced prior to the passage of the income tax request, and with its passage, it will allow the district to follow through with all aspects of the plan. This reconstruction will require time, as it is easier to cut than rebuild. Last week, we met to fulfill one of our promises made upon the passage of the income tax. This special meeting was scheduled to ensure that we maintain the services of the school resource officer from the Miami County Sheriff's Office. Again, thank you for the opportunity to keep the wonderful traditions of Milton-Union schools alive and make a positive impact on the students we serve. Now I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Ritchie.
Yeah, I could not have said that better. It was a nice bonus that the election happened during Teacher Appreciation Week. It certainly made the trip around the building, seeing all of our staff members certificated and classified, really more of a celebration than it would have been otherwise. So I think the feeling across the building to a person was either just pure joy or absolute just relief that it had passed. But certainly the morale was good the next day. There were a lot of happy people across the board, certificated and classified. So just to go along with Ben, what you were stating about scaling up district transportation services, I think that my advice to the board, and I'll keep saying this whenever we get an opportunity in public session to do so, but it's really going to come down to the number of bus drivers that we can recruit. So on that note, Curtis, so someone very close to the district and the board, recommended that we look into this strategy. But there's a district that is south, I think it's just slightly southeast of Columbus, that does a similar activity to recruit bus drivers, just to bring people in when no one's on the grounds, when there's a great big empty parking lot, for folks just to see what it's like to drive a bus under the supervision of a trained driver. So that event is happening here on our grounds on May 31st from 9 a.m. to noon. And it's really just an opportunity, again, to give folks a chance to see what driving a bus is like. I think Curtis is planning to set up a few, I think this is an extreme way to put it, but a few, like, I guess, kind of skills driving tests, obstacles, I suppose. Nothing too strenuous, but things that you would have to do on a routine basis while you're driving a bus. But hopefully folks will be here, get a feel for what that's like, and realize that, hey, driving a bus isn't all that bad. It's kind of can be overwhelming at first, but hopefully that'll give folks a little bit of experience and some confidence to be able to follow through on that, go through the training, and then drive for us next year in the 25-26 school year. Anything you'd like to add about that?
Do they just show up, or can they register?
There is a, last week I believe, the week before, we sent out a a flyer with a QR code to register. There's also a phone number to call. We're actually going to repost that for anyone that may have forgot, or, you know, as a reminder to sign up. That way we have an idea of who all's interested and how many we have interested for the event.
So how many do you have signed up?
So far we have 8.
Great.
8 signed up. So,
I mean, if that's 8 people that go all the way through the training and are actual drivers for us, that's a win all the way around. But, I mean, probably not all those folks will sustain, but we'll put that message out one more time to see if we can just put a reminder out in front of folks that we're doing this on the 31st of May. Let's see, handbooks. I had hoped that we would get all of the handbooks to you by now to approve for this at this meeting for the 25-26 school year. We're just not there yet. The middle and high school handbook is, I would say, 99% of the way done. The elementary is really close, but there are pieces in their handbooks that the principals requested, and I agree, probably need to go in the district handbook as well. So just so it's the same language that you see in all of the handbooks. In some of the buildings, the elementary in particular, will put links in their handbooks, in its handbook, to reference the district handbook for information, so that there's no inconsistency in information. So we've been really trying to tighten that up this year. But we're also starting the registration and enrollment process for 25-26, and so one of the tasks that people would do in that system is say, hey, I've read the handbook. So we're trying to get this done so that folks can get in there and read it, so they're not looking at last year's handbook when they provide the, yes, I did this. So, but looking to do that, unless we have a special meeting between now and June's regular meeting, I would have it done for that. But it was just pushing it to get all of those handbooks to you for this meeting. So anticipate that for the June board meeting agenda. We do not have English language arts results yet for state testing this year. We do have preliminary results for social studies, science, and math. We have looked at what we could look at for with our district leadership team, which includes a number of teachers and as well as the building principals. I would say that our results, there are some wins, there are definitely some celebrations, maybe some that are even unexpected. But there are also some pretty underwhelming, or I would say mediocre results consistent with last year's report card results. So again, we're still going to be digging into social studies, science, and math. Don't have language arts yet, but the preliminary results, the final results don't change much from the preliminary results. So Katie, not to put you on the spot, anything you'd like to add there?
No, I think you kind of summarized it. Again, some areas that we were pretty excited and happy about, and then some others that, we've got some work to do. So kind of a mixed bag, and we're anxiously anticipating language arts. The slight changes that Brad mentioned from when the preliminary results come in until they're finalized has to do with a law in the state of Ohio that students need to be enrolled in your district for 120 days for you to be accountable for them. So for example, the student attended Milton-Union from the beginning of the year until March 15th, and then they went to Troy, and so they tested at Troy. Their result will come back and we'll be accountable for that. And then the flip would also be true. The student moved in, April 30th, and they took the math test with us on May 2nd. Their score is in our scores right now, but once all of that gets done, Kim Gregory and I spend some time over the summer making sure that all of that gets taken care of. But we don't have that many students in and out, so it's usually a slight change.
Yeah, we can talk about that more at a later time. We'll do a whole, and Katie's excellent at this, she'll do a whole presentation on all the report card results. Again, once we have language arts as well, and we'll kind of spitball the reasons why we think things are the way they are, and we're still kind of crossing our fingers that because we paid so much attention to literacy over the past few years, that our language arts results are more encouraging. So I'll mention too that as much as we could, because we got a late start, Mr. Watson and I interviewed as many seniors as we could get our hands on for their senior exit interviews last week. Again, we got a late start, so we talked to as many as we could. So if there are families, parents, family members that are watching from home right now of seniors, you may not, your senior may not have been interviewed just because we ran out of time. But we tried to talk to as many as we could.
How many did you get to?
Around 50. So anybody under roof that, maybe there was some College Credit Plus mixed in there as well, but, we tried to catch as many as we could. There's some kids that are always off campus. MBCTC seniors had already finished, so couldn't get our hands on everybody, but we tried to talk to as many as we could. A lot of encouraging comments. We asked questions like, what'd you love about Milton-Union schools? What worked really well for you? What would you change if you could? We have them talk about their plan after graduation. Anything else they might like to say? I'll tell you that the number one response for, what would you change if you could was nothing. School worked pretty well for me, quote unquote. There are also some one-off comments that, they are not consistent themes, but they're really excellent suggestions. So, there were a few kids that talked about motivation, their own motivation, but also our ability to motivate students to engage in work in class. And I just thought that was a really profound thing for students to say. So that wasn't widespread, just an example of something that was not widespread. It's not a consistent theme, but there are some really good one-off comments that I think we should pay attention to. So it's every year it's a really great experience. So I think there are some other things that will come up over the course of the meeting. So for now, that's all I have, unless the board members would have any questions for me.
Moving on, for Treasurer's Report. A, approval of Board of Education minutes, April 21st, 2025, regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. B, approval of Board of Education minutes, May 12th, 2025, special meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Abstain.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. C, approval of April financial report. Recommend approval of the April financial report. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
So since you're going to be doing the 5-year, I assume you're going to be giving a presentation on the 5-year forecast, and you find it necessary to go over the approval of the financial report? Or?
Probably not. I will sound like a broken record with
That's
kind of just already what's going on.
That's
so.
kind of what I figured. Roll call then.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mrs. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. D, 5-year forecast. Recommend approval of the fiscal year 2025 through 2029 forecast as updated for May submission as required by the Ohio Department of Education. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, that's pretty hard to see. Let's see. 1 second. Brad, can you maybe kill one of the front light?
Is that front switch?
I think that's gonna be so dark.
Or it's the back switch?
Which one you like better?
That one will be fine.
Okay.
Okay, so a majority of this is in white font, so we'll just kind of go through what each of the slides what we're going to discuss on each slide. As you know, it is required by Ohio Revised Code to submit a 5-year forecast. The big one comes in November, and then the treasurer will submit an update in May. They both require lots of work. There's a lot of moving parts within the fiscal year, so the May one is just pretty much there to do an update with the finances that have happened over the years. It is generally deals with the general fund, which is Fund 001 in our world. There are a couple of other funds that are associated with it, but I'll kind of skip over those because they don't necessarily apply to Milton-Union. So what is the purpose and objectives of the 5-year forecast? It gives a high-level explanation of kind of what is going on in the district. So I think the first bullet point kind of explains is to engage the Board of Education and the community in long-range planning and discussions on the financial matters of the district. Ohio Revised Code requires us to submit what's called 412 certificates, which is basically just making sure the funds are available in the forecast. It is also a way for the state to measure and anticipate many issues that could come across different districts. I'll talk about it a little bit more, but this is something that they are looking at with the budget, the state budget. Without the 5-year forecast, honestly, the state wouldn't know of any districts that are going over the 30% threshold. So I'll go over that here in just a little bit. But it's just a way for, we have to submit it up to the state, and the auditors watch it. The Ohio Department of Education watches to make sure no one goes into fiscal watch. So again, there's certain parts of the 5-year forecast. It is a big picture of what is going on in the districts. It's a big, elaborate spreadsheet that is often and required to have notes and assumptions that speak into detail for each one of the lines that are on there. So I was just explaining, the 5-year forecast has 2 main sections. I like to say 3, just because there's 3 lines you want to watch, actually 4 lines. Your total revenue, your total expenditures, your over-under, so whether revenue is exceeding your expenditures or lower than your expenditures, or your deficit spending, and then your ending cash balance. So just kind of going over what is going on with the governor's budget, just to give a little bit of an update. Overall, it's not favoring public schools. In fact, it's there's about $100 million less budgeted for public schools, and an additional $448 million going towards the voucher program that is causing the private schools to basically thrive. As I was explaining earlier, one of the main concerns that's happening in the House right now is the cash carryover, so it cannot exceed 30% of the prior year's expenditures. So what happens when that happens, the budget commissions for the county are the ones that will be decreasing the property tax millage. Why is that concerning? In my opinion, your voters, the ones who voted those levies into place, they're losing control, and those budget commissions are voted positions. So I think it's a pretty scary game to play. I hope they don't keep it at the 30%. They were talking 25%. It's already changed to 30%. One of our local legislators even made the comment, 30% is too low, and he's definitely not a proponent of public schools. So we're hoping that if they decide to keep something like this, that it does, the percentage goes much higher. There's 400 and some districts that fall in this 30% range that would be impacted, which
It's not a done deal yet, though, is it?
Nope. We're going to go to the next slide, and we'll kind of take a look at that. So it is something to be watched. There are a lot of people, treasurers, superintendents, anybody involved in public finance, they are definitely speaking out to their legislators. So that's a good thing.
So when will be the final say?
Yep, so they, I'll get to it in just a second. So this kind of gives a timeline of, in looking when the 5-year forecast is due, which is filing date is May 31st. You can see that up there. So our fiscal year runs July 1 to June 30th. So as you can see here, the House has passed their bill. We have not heard anything from the Senate yet as to what is going on there. So going on to the next slide. The state budget, it's not complete until the end of June. So what will happen is the November forecast, our K-12 consulting, Chris Moore, he is great. He is definitely an arm in Columbus and knows what's going on and can give great insight on, what is going to go on with the budget. So he will continue to give Cheyenne updates, all of his treasurers updates, OASBO will give updates, so we can kind of have a hint as what is going to go on, but your November forecast is really going to tell you what the true impact is. So again, this could ride out till like the end of June before we would actually find out what's going to happen. So it's got to go up to the governor and then he has to approve it. Okay, so getting into the meat of our 5-year forecast. So as you can see, our total revenue from various sources is at about $16 million, projected to be at $16 million for fiscal year 25. 53% of that is state funding, so that's why I was emphasizing, the budget going up to the governor. That is significant area of risk should they decide to slash that and put their money elsewhere. The state runs on biennium budgets, so there's 2 biennium budgets that are within, uncertainty of 2 biennium budgets that are within the 5-year forecast. So we, again, will have to watch that. At Milton-Union, so you have 53% of it is your state foundation. You have your real estate taxes, small portion that we have, or the income tax, a small portion of income tax that we have going to the general fund, real estate taxes, public utility, property taxes that are coming in, which we've shown those to take a pretty good increase this year, so that's good. So some revenue assumptions, as I like to call them, continue to watch the state budget. We need to continue with this budget. It's bottoms and seats is how we count our ADM for the calculation of state funding. So we need to continue to watch that. That is causing a few discrepancies on the 5-year forecast as those kiddos going off to either parochial schools or maybe the career center. That funding does follow them. So that's something we need to watch. I should say conservatively, the revenue is only in the state budget. We only have it increasing by a little less than 1%. So again, that's conservative. Hopefully we've got some good results, I guess, fingers crossed from the state budget that a miracle happens and that helps us out a little bit more. So general fund expenditures, they are running at about $15 million. So we are a service industry, so a majority of the expenditures for us are salaries and benefits. Usually 80% is your target for the salaries and benefits target. We're running at about 73.6%. So it's not hateful, but definitely something we need to watch. It's just the cycle of the staff, and it's fine. It'll be okay. The expenditure assumptions. So as you know, we are in negotiations right now. It's no secret that there's built-in 2% growth for staff increases. Built into this forecast is an 8% increase on insurance. I'm happy to report we just got the EPC numbers. Was it yesterday? So it was before the forecast, not yesterday, Friday. And we are only going to see a 5% increase on our health insurance. That is awesome. That is great. So things to watch. The ESC services still increased to service those kiddos who need a little extra attention. And then any of the expenditures that were associated with ESSER have either been removed out of service from the district or are being absorbed by the general fund. So ESSER is a thing of the past. So this, I kind of put this together a year or so ago. This is a 5-year forecast in summary. You can't see it very well. These are red, so those are in the negative. So the 4 lines that I pretty much pay attention to when giving the forecast is your total revenues, your total expenditure for each year, whether you're over or under, and then your reserved cash balance. So, with the levy that just passed, thankfully, we will start collections on that in fiscal year 26. It'll happen a little bit quicker than normal because we already have an income tax that is in place. So I'm happy to report that things are looking on the up. I'm very thankful to the community for passing that levy. This is just another look. This is a traditional graph that we usually provide in the 5-year forecast presentation. You can see the green line down there is the cash balance. Blue line is revenue. and red is the expenditures. So as long as we can keep on the right path, for the next couple of years and get that 5-year plan executed, I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
Does this include, I'm assuming it includes SRO, which just got read, and what about the potential new guidance counselor? Is that?
That was not included in this, so that will be an added expense.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
So if you look at like fiscal year 2027, if that bill was to hold and go through at 30%,
Mhm.
we would need our reserve cash balance to be under like 5.5 million. Roughly. 30% of 17.9.
It would be, so that's,
It's cash carryover from the previous year, right?
mhm. Yes, and see, we don't know what they're going to pull back from the property taxes. We just know that they are going to cut them. Like we don't know what they're going to cut them to, but they have said if your cash carryover is 30% of your expenditures, they're gonna cut millage. That's
Well, I'm asking how, so it's 30% of the expenses
the
for
prior
the
year
year, the prior
expenditures.
year?
Yes,
But then they look at your current year cash balance?
no, they use, so like we're in fiscal year 25 right now, they're going to use fiscal year 24 data. All cash balance for fiscal year 24 and fiscal year expenditures for 24.
Okay.
Right
You
now,
only look at the operating fund?
yes, yes. So what we have, let me get my head wrapped around that. There's a strategy that is out there right now.
So they want,
Milton-Union is sitting at, I think it's 32.6%. It's not Bradford, who's sitting at 70-some%. 32%, it's not bad, while still concerning, but there's definitely some things that we need to take a look at.
So it's beneficial to run on thin margins on your operational side.
Or find a capital fund to use and start putting money back into that, because that's not your general
Can you
fund.
put that general fund money into capital?
I got you more, I just learned about it yesterday. Give me a little bit of time to research on it.
already,
Okay.
there's a couple of things.
Okay, so where are we at right now? You guys know this, we began using reserves in fiscal year 23-24. We made some pretty significant cuts to curb the deficit spending in fiscal year 25 and 26. We have some revenue growth due to the school district income tax that was approved. Thank you very much to the voters. As I stated on the future, the health insurance premiums, we did get a 5% increase. That's good. They led to no, unless something crazy happens, the EPC is running very, very conservative right now. So that's good news. I'm hoping that, one prescription drug could really throw things off the rails. Right now the weight loss and diabetic drugs are very high up there in cost right now. So unless something crazy happens, there's a cancer treatment out there that could really drive the cost up. Things are looking good there. At Stillwater Crossings, I did contact the Miami County Auditor. We should have some revenue coming in. I believe it's in collectible calendar year 26 for some of those new homes. Won't be much, but those are starting to come on the roll, so that's good. So we need to make sure that we're keeping our revenues and expenditures, or revenues, watching the revenues in the state budget, what happens there, and really keeping the expenditures in check. I know it's great that we passed the levy, but it's slow to roll in, so we really got to keep what is going on there. So this just talks about the House bill that's in play with the state budget, uncertainties there. And lastly, I just want to say, it's been a rough couple of years not getting the levies passed, but we're finally able to get one across the finish line. So this is crucial to future spending. It really helps with the planning and executing what the board wants to do with this 5-year plan, and getting the bonds paid off early so that we take the handcuffs off. So, any questions from the board?
So is that the Stillwater collections on the property tax for Stillwater? So that's the early homes that were constructed, they're starting to come on?
They'll come on in 26. payable and coming on the roll in '26. They're starting to come on, very slowly, but they're starting.
And that's the full amount for,
Finally.
okay.
It's not,
Well, it's gonna be slow, I mean, they're gonna be coming. So, is there a timeline of the year where they have to be built by for us to get collections, like in '26? Or,
Oh, so when they would have come on the tax roll? I don't know the answer to that. Trying to think, I'm wondering if, maybe you know this, does the county auditor, do they keep, well, they would have to keep track of when they come onto the roll, or when they were occupied, which,
It's only its possession.
yes, occupancy,
It's not
so,
when they just get billed, it's when they.
occupancy.
but,
And
I
that
mean,
starts the clock,
right.
4 years, but then you gotta remember, property tax are billed in arrears.
That's what, I think that's what I'm saying.
Elections, so that's why I kept saying it's really 6 years.
Let me see if I can find a timeline of when some of those would,
Because in year 5, they would bill it,
Right.
and then year 6, the school would receive the money. So it's really a 6-year bill.
yeah, I can reach out to the auditor on that. I'm sure they have a spreadsheet available.
It seems like the first homes went up slow, like, so
Yeah.
imagine it's not all that many the first year.
It won't be a huge influx. I mean, there's
I
a
know.
slight adjustment in the forecast, or consideration for that in the forecast, but it's nothing material for sure. And that's all I have.
The roll call, please.
Mrs. Brindle?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons? Yes. Dr. Hinkle?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes.
Thanks, Nancy.
Other special reports, MUEA.
Once again, thank you to the community for the levy, for supporting the kids. I echo Dr. Ritchie, it was between relief and excitement that the levy had passed, and we can hopefully start to get some services back to kids again.
Thank you. 6, agenda confirmation. A, additions and deletions to the agenda. Any additions or deletions?
There is an addition. And that is in G, that's G, under new business, regarding technology purchases.
If I didn't upload mine to the notes in time, let me know if I skip over.
You got
Oh, Nick will, don't worry.
B, approval of the agenda. I recommend approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brindle?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons? Yes. Mr. Diaz?
Yes. 7, old business. Do we have any old business?
No, sir.
8, new business. I recommend approval of increases/decreases in total appropriations for fiscal year 2025 as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mrs. Brindle?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. Fiscal year 2026 Miami County ESC pass-through agreement. Recommend approval of contract between the Milton-Union Exempted Village School District and the Miami County Educational Service Center beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. Services will be provided and billed for the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Brad, before we go on, people who are viewing just because we're passing this, they may not know what the Miami County ESC is, or what they do, or what services they provide. Could you just give a quick rundown as to like why we use them, and how it benefits the school?
Well, generally, for the number of students that we have that would receive services, it is, financially a better decision to pool together with other schools in the county who need those resources as well, so that we aren't hiring an occupational therapist alone. We share that cost with others. And also, we have consortium classrooms that the ESC provides, the teacher, the aides, the supervision for kids that probably are among our students with the greatest need in terms of special needs and special programming. So the ESC provides, again, the instructor, the curriculum, supervision, so they do that as well. There's a career connections component that they provide, which is an added bonus for our school counseling staff. Help kids to identify their career pathway, do some individualized work with kids to identify an actual career on that pathway. So it's financially more sound for us to do that than to try to purchase and staff those things, those services on our own.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the federal dollars that come to the school help pay for special needs are paid to the ESC through us. Is that correct?
I can't answer without maybe some
The
help
only
here.
small amount that gets transferred to the ESC would be for some of our preschool, but that's not a lot. Most of our federal funding, the IDEAB for special ed, those are direct hires by us,
Okay.
by
I'm
them.
just mistaken.
A majority of them is
And
interventions.
Jessica, how I could have forgotten preschool. So we have two preschool classrooms that both have, there's four units, so there's morning and afternoon preschool in two different classrooms. And if we didn't have preschool, we would have to transport our kids to wherever that preschool is. So it's a huge expense, but it's better than the alternative. So.
Yeah, I just thought it was a good thing, a good time for you to explain exactly what it is.
It's a big number.
Yes,
Well,
it's a
I
very
have
big number.
a question about that big number. Is that just an estimated cost?
No, they get as close as
nail
they
it
can.
to exactly 1.9 million?
Yeah.
It's pretty close. We're talking maybe like
The reason I ask is, is our services increasing, or is it just kind of a baked in 8 to 10% increase in cost every year? Because at that rate, it doesn't take long for us to double that cost in our budget. It's kind of concerning.
Yeah, I think that's going to continue to be an issue.
Because it was 1.6, and then it was 1.8, and now it's 1.9.
Yeah.
I can do the math pretty quick in my head.
Yeah, it's going to continue to be an issue. Yeah, so we hire our instructional aides through the ESC as well, and so that's based on the need of the student. So there are kids that need one-on-ones, and that's part of it. So if we add an aide for an individual student, that would increase costs. If there are kids that get accepted into a specialized unit, then there's going to be an increased cost for that student. Sometimes those costs are upward of $50,000 for a student. That's related to their IEP. So it's a special education.
That's just one student.
Correct. And that's probably average. There are students that cost more than that too. So that's the benefit of the consortium classrooms that we don't host here, is again, we share that cost with other schools that have students that attend in those units.
there is a weighted component based off of their disability identifier. I think I'm saying that correctly. That we report through EMIS. There is a weighted component through the state foundation. While it's definitely by no means is it cost dollar for dollar, we do get a little bit additional funding plus when we report catastrophic and excess cost right around the winter season. So there's a little bit of weight on that, but it by no means is it close to what those kiddos are actually costing.
So in theory, if the Miami County ESC is having trouble locating professionals to fill these services, they would have to offer more money to fill those roles, and then it gets passed on to all of us,
Correct.
which is probably what's driving the ratchet up.
Plus the market in general.
Well, yeah, and then
I'm
there's,
saying, if they're trying to get people to come like to Miami County ESC, they're competing against Montgomery County and
sure,
Greene County and Franklin County. And you know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm assuming that's causing a lot of the cost increase.
Yeah, that's certainly some of it. And then what you're not seeing in that ESC contract is when there are students that require special services and they're on a waiting list for those services through the county, and we're looking in other locations to be able to serve that student. And that can be more pricey. And again, it's tied to the student's IEP. We don't get a choice on that. It's the right thing to do. It's just that unfortunately, special education is, as it exists in this state, is underfunded. And if it was funded at the level it should be provided in this state, it'd probably be twice as much. So to Carrie's point, I mean, we do get a little bit of money back for catastrophic costs, but it's not enough to cover the cost of the service.
Does this number include getting a school psychologist through the ESC?
It does not yet.
And we're thinking that's probably definitely going to have that?
Has to happen. We have to have a school psych. We can share that school psych with another district, but we have to have one.
As in mandated by the state?
Yes.
Yeah, they're the ones that identify the kids, IEPs, DTRs. They are the ones that do that.
There's no one here that can do that work.
Oh, I'm sure you have to have all sorts of
Yeah, there's
licenses
some
and
licensures.
everything else, so. Any other discussion about the
So we
ES?
could expect that number to go up.
You could expect that there would be other purchase services. So, I mean, the line in the forecast for purchase services, you expect that to go up. Yeah.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Roll call.
Mrs. Brunbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkelman?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mr. East?
Yes. C, transfer, recommend approval of the following transfers. A, 50,000 from general fund 001 to athletic fund 300. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
This is a routine transfer. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brunbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkelman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. D, food service compliance consulting agreement, recommend approval of the extension agreement with the Southwestern Ohio Educational Purchasing Council, also known as EPC, for the purpose of providing consulting services to the Milton-Union Schools food service program for the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hinkelman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mrs. Brunbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. E, Loretta Faulkner Roselle Scholarship, recommend approval of Kyla Johns as recipient of the Loretta Faulkner Roselle Scholarship. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mrs. Brunbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkelman?
Yes.
And Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. F, policy update, second reading, recommend adoption of the following listed BOE policies for use throughout the Milton-Union exempted village school district. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Assuming I don't have to read it, based on how this is? Okay, good.
That's another reason why I couldn't bring the district handbook to you yet, is because we gotta approve the cell phone policy that's gonna go in the district handbook. And it's suddenly gonna end up being a whole lot less controversial because, I mean, the state's gonna prohibit it all the way around, but I haven't heard any negative comments about this yet. In fact, most comments that have been directed towards me have been positive about prohibiting the use of student cell phones throughout the day.
I think it's gonna be great, personally.
So sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Roll call, please.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mrs. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Are you ready?
Yeah, I got it. G, addendum, this is the addendum additions. Technology purchase approvals, recommend approval of the following quote for technology department to be paid out of
Should say out
Fund
of, sorry.
003, permanent improvement, Dell, total of $127,000 for 250 student devices. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mick, do you want to talk a little bit about this purchase and why we're going with the, they're not Chromebooks, or are they?
They are Chromebooks.
Okay.
So normally we would buy probably one grade level with the Chromebooks in the elementary school and 2 grade levels of Windows devices for middle school and high school. We're in an effort now to pay off the buildings early, so our permanent improvement budget is being focused heavily on that. Cutting the technology permanent improvement budget, we're going to get a couple of grade levels of Chromebooks for the elementary school, take the devices they have and hand them off to middle school and high school students to try and stretch the life of all those devices to cover, for now. We'll reevaluate on an annual basis, see how things are going every year. Try and extend the life of devices beyond the typical 4 or 5 years to stretch that budget out for the next 4 or 5 years.
Appreciate it, Mick. I know it's difficult, but it's something we have to look at and work towards our plan. But will the Chromebooks have a similar warranty as the services did?
Yes.
And that's how long?
We have been buying 3-year warranties.
Okay.
And in the 4th, 5th year, if there's anything that goes out, we have found that instead of paying for a warranty on every device, if there's a few the last couple of years, we usually have leftover devices that we can supplement in for a broken device, or if we need to, it's cheaper to go buy the same model device used off the internet than it is to pay for 4th and 5th year warranties on every device.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Hey, I just wanted to say one thing. Nick, I appreciate you working with me to try to lower that number. We lowered it quite a bit,
Good.
so I appreciate it.
Good.
H, consent calendar, recommend approval of all matters listed under the consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brumbaugh?
Yes.
Mrs. Kim Parsons?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkleman?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
Mr. Diaz?
Yes. All right. 9, 10 board reports. This skip some?
Well, is there anything under other authorizations?
9 other authorizations, resolutions, et cetera. Do you have anything? 10 board reports. A, legislative and student achievement. Linda?
We're coming up on the end of the year. We'll be recognizing 8th grade promotion, May 28th. May 30th, we'll be doing senior recognition, is that 9 a.m.?
8:15.
8:15 a.m. In the gym, and graduation will be that night at 6, I think.
Did you say May 30th?
Yeah, that can't be.
The 23rd, May 23rd.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm
this
sorry.
Friday.
I'm
Sorry,
off
sorry,
the-
sorry, senior parent.
I was like, man, we're gonna have fun this Friday. They moved it on me. You'll be here too?
Yes. And then on the legislative side, the only thing, I mean, we talked about that a lot. The only other wild card is there's like a public referendum trying to abolish property taxes in Ohio.
Yeah.
I think that's unlikely to pass, but that would sure be a wild card.
Yes, it is.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. B, policy update. Myself and Lori, obviously we had a second reading. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Has Norm given any updates?
None. Norm's underground right now.
Norm's. All right. C, building and transportation. Myself and Justin. Do you have anything, Justin?
I just think the focus has been on, after the passage of the levy, to bring transportation back, to increase it.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
it's been a lot of the focus.
A lot of discussions. Curtis is probably tired of us bugging him.
Yeah, it's all right. It's part of it. Part of it.
D, or did you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. D, MD, CTC, Jim Alvo, he's not here, so does he have anything to communicate through you?
No, they just had their senior recognition ceremony on Friday night. Went really well. Nice to watch our kids be recognized. So wrapped up another year.
Okay. E, Milton-Union Education Foundation, Jess?
It's a big time right now. The foundation awarded 3 individual scholarships for $1,000 each. And then the class of 2023, they had given us some money that they still had in their account. So we were able to give another $500 scholarship. So 4 in total. So it's very exciting. So that will be given out on Friday. And again, we have the Bulldog Golf Classic coming up. Right now, if you would like to be a full sponsor, you could do that. It's for $100. We have 18 teams so far signed up. We can hold 30 foursomes. So anyway, if you would like to do that, you can register online at mueducationfoundation.org. Sign up starts at 7:30, and it's a shotgun start Friday morning at 8:30. So it's a lot of fun. It raises really good funds for classroom grants and scholarships for the
It's
seniors.
the biggest fundraiser, it's a good time, a lot of Milton alum are there, Hickory River.
Yes, and it's catered by Hickory.
You can't go wrong with that, so.
Good.
What's it
It's a
again?
good time. Friday, June 6th. Oh, the name of the golf, what'd you say?
I asked them if they had golf.
Oh, golf club.
Yeah. Swing it kind of like a bat.
Right.
All right, moving on. F, Audit and Finance Committee, Justin and Lori. Anything?
I think our audit wrapped up, right?
Yes, we were, there were 2 items on there. They were very small items. One of them was a timing issue on final appropriations from last year. They looked forward and they were fine, so. Yes, glad that's over.
All right, G, Facility Complex Committee. Well, if you noticed this weekend, it was pretty busy in West Milton because our facilities hosted a satellite location for the Strawberry Soccer Tournament, which brought in people from all over. The parking lots were all over were packed, and soccer was going on everywhere. Being a soccer fan, I I enjoyed seeing that. All in all, I think it was a good event, and
How many games were played here? I heard,
120.
okay, I heard 110 and that just seemed crazy, but
It was
120.
118, but I rounded to
Okay.
120. 118.
That's a lot of teams.
Yep.
it gave us a good opportunity to implement our facility usage fees and generate a little revenue for the school. I think it's a good experience that we've encountered this, and what we can expect if we do this again in the future. So overall, I walked the fields look great, everything looked,
I know Curtis worked hard to get that contract and get all that approved, so, yeah.
And we had our two people that worked it, said that things went really well, and people were very helpful with, putting their trash where it belongs, and, people were nice and respectful, and
Weather was good.
the weather was good.
I was gonna ask, because I was in Indianapolis for the big softball tournament. Did you guys get rain Friday night?
We did.
A
Yep.
lot?
I don't think it was as much as they thought we were going to get.
It downpoured really quick and then stopped, so it wasn't as
Good bit over there.
I will say, we drove down Davis and there was people parking at the Union.
And that was probably.
I wondered if they cared, their parking lot was full
That
of
was
people
the,
walking to the
that was probably
game.
the biggest ticket we had, and
At the Union.
the life squad.
Oh,
Life
really?
squad, yeah.
And we got that mitigated pretty quick. But Union Township, we went over there and spoke to them, and they were like, it's all right, just as long as we can get them moved, so that they were off in the grass. I don't think they were really blocking anything, but nonetheless, we didn't really want them parking there. So we got them all moved, and they were very kind about they didn't seem to be too upset.
They're meaning just like maps for parking.
Yeah, they
We
were
do it.
parking out here and then walking through the woods to get to the.
And we sent all that to the event coordinators, and they sent it out to everyone. But like anything else, I'm sure that a lot of people either didn't look at it or didn't get the message. It seems that at any event like this, parking is the biggest nightmare. And to be honest, that was probably our biggest one, and it happened for all of about 30 minutes. So the flow of traffic in and out of Lowry over here seemed to be pretty well timed with games ending and new games starting, and people were utilizing both ends of our parking lots to, walk to and from.
No altercations?
No, nope.
Is there, man, I know the parking is where all this starts. Like, people get crazy, like, trying to save spots,
Yeah.
and then people just run over chairs. No, we saw it happen at Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was 3 huge baseball, softball tournaments going on in Greenwood, which is a nice subdivision.
And hopefully, with the amount of people that came through, some of the local businesses were able to, get a little piece of that pie, so to speak, whether it be food or, whatever service that they provide. But, yeah, all in all, I think it went well.
Yeah, I was just checking.
Yeah.
I saw a chair get ran over by a truck.
Yeah. No, we didn't have any of that here.
And grandma, it was an older lady's chair. And she was not happy. I was like,
Softball's a different animal.
it was actually the baseball.
Oh, that's.
They were parking in the wrong spot.
11, information and discussion items, Milton-Union Public Library fiscal year 26 tax budget hearing. What does this entail?
So we just have to let the community know that the budget is available and upfront if they want to come in and look at it. It's a formality thing that we have to do every year. You guys will be approving the budget, which they all put together, really has nothing to do with it. We're just the fiscal agent for the library, so.
Okay, so I need to read this section down here about.
I would, please.
Okay, Milton-Union Public Library fiscal year 26 tax budget hearing. Copies are on file and may be reviewed by appointment at the central office during business hours, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Friday, until Monday, June 16, 2025. B, general information and updates. Are there any general information and updates?
I think we want to talk a little bit about the upcoming renewal levy, PI renewal levy.
Okay.
See where the board is on that.
So as you know, it's on a 5-year cycle, generates about $380,000 a year to the PI fund. So that is due for renewal this year. The time frame for that is the first resolution would need to be approved in June, second in July, and it would have to be the Board of Elections by, I believe it was August 6th. So I just need your guys' okay to go ahead and have Cheyenne proceed with that. I definitely think it's necessary. I would not let it roll.
It's
part of the plan.
Part of the five-year
Yep.
plan, so if we want to get it paid off, we need to, 380K over 4 years is well over $1 million, so it's a large chunk of money.
How long has this one been around?
Oh boy, long time.
1992.
Give me a minute.
What's its effective millage rate?
Oh, effective?
1.6.
1 second.
Maybe lower. I'd have to look it up.
It's pretty low.
I looked at it.
It's pretty low, yeah.
Let's see. 1.46. It has been in place, it was before 2000.
So for that one,
I think it was 1992.
Yeah, this only goes, that's the very first line on what I'm looking at right here. So it was, like I said, it was before 2000. Because it was renewed in November of 2000. And that's as far back as it goes.
Before that. 92 is the big one, the 17. Yeah, 92 is the 17 one.
The operating?
Yeah,
Yes.
now effective.
There was a couple right in there.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, it's necessary.
Absolutely, yes, I would agree. That'd be my
So
recommendation.
we can keep on schedule with paying off the
Mhm.
school.
I agree.
All right. I will get that information. We've already got it started. We'll continue to work with that to make sure the resolutions are passed.
Okay, thank you. 12 board announcements, upcoming meetings, regular board meeting, Monday, June 16th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the board conference room. 13, executive session. Recommend approval to adjourn to executive session for purposes authorized under Board of Education Policy 0166 and ORC 121.22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, and compensation of an employee or official, ORC 121.22G4, to prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning compensation or other terms, conditions of employment, and ORC 121.22G5 for a matter required to be kept confidential by federal law or rules or state statutes. There will be no action taken after the board exits executive session. Invitees are Carrie, Brad, Curtis, Cheyenne, Solomon, Katie. Anybody else?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll enter into executive session at 7:03. Thank you all for coming. If you guys need your papers signed, hand it to one of us and we'll sign it. Otherwise,